Hello, Charlie here. Right now I'm going to do a quick demonstration of the game I programmed in Unity. So in this game you control as the red slime over here, and your health is represented by the three orbs at the top on the screen. So you have full control of the slime like any platformer game, and all the enemies are these knights over here. So you can attack them just by walking into them, but you don't do it if they attack you, or else it will take away your health. So you can find these cages over here and rescue the slimes inside them, which have the same control as main player, and also use them to attack the knights. They also take damage though, and you have to be careful. So you can replay whenever you want, but that's all I need to show right now. So here are the scripts that I use to make everything work. So I'll start off with the script for the movement of the slime, which controls mostly everything. So like over here there are loads of variables, so I'll just explain them as we go. So first of all, we've got just the code that detects if the player has fallen down the pit. So if he falls off, it either just sends him flying back out and makes him lose a health, or if he's completely out of health, just kills him, deletes him, and starts the game over screen. So with this code over here, basically detects if you're clicking on the left or right arrow, and it turns this variable called movement speed into the set maximum speed for the character. So afterwards, once the rigid body is set, it basically starts, it gives the player's rigid body, the velocity specifically, movement speed, so he starts moving. So this is disabled if he's in a state of knockback, which is like if you get hit by an enemy, if you walk into one, he's just sent flying backwards. And you can only stop this if you have the ability to cancel it, which is a separate state, which will be like reset after a certain amount of time. So this variable nTimer1, I use it as, timer. So after a certain amount of frames have passed, it cancels the knockback state. So you can continue controlling your character as normal. So over here, this whole code is just used so that way the camera can tell how far you are from its center. So I use this so that way the camera isn't constantly following the character. So he only moves if you're at, let's see, if you're at n camera distance away from the center of the camera. So here I think I set it to 2. So if you move at least 2, I'm going to assume it's some sort of unit. I don't know which one it is, but if you move away from it from a certain distance, it starts following you. So it starts following you if you are actually using input, or if you're knocked back where you have no control of movement. So this makes it so that the camera is always following you, but not necessarily always moving, to make it more natural. So over here, this is just the code that lets you jump on the ground. You can only do it if the hitbox below the slime detects if it's on a ground object. So that's with the slime, and like the animation is always set with anim state, which uses the animator over here. But let's see if I can get it. So yeah, I have something like this for most of all the objects that actually have animation, which I guess makes sense. But yeah, I always have to set it to a certain state just for different situations. And over here is all the little interactions the slime has with other characters. like over here, I make it ignore any other objects with the player tag, so that way he doesn't get blocked by other slimes, so that way he doesn't just get stopped mid movement. This is just, it makes it's so that if the slime reaches the goal, he wins. This is the enemy interaction code, so it just determines whether or not he just gets knocked back. And well, there's a separate one for if he's being attacked, so this one just gets rid of his health. So yeah, that's most of the code explained for the movement. And there are loads of other things, like for the knight, he has most of the same code as the slime itself, but he has different things, like he has to detect how far the slime is. And first of all, he has to detect which slime is the closest, because there can be multiple slimes at once. So over here, it just detects if the closest slime is close enough that he can swing at him, and if not, he just starts moving closer towards him. So he set the rigid body's velocity to his movement speed. So also, if he's all out of health, I just make his box collider, I just disable it, so that way he just falls to the floor and gets deleted once he's below a certain level. So the blue slimes, these guys, they have pretty much the same code as the movement, except they don't control the camera. I have loads of other things like the cage reaction. That makes it so that if the cage is knocked back by a slime, it just instantiates one of the blue ones. So it's over here. It first of all destroys it, then instantiates it. All the objects with that can be controlled, the player tags, they get this separate script called slime tagger. That way other scripts, like the one that detects how much health you have, let's see, health display, you can just detect all players with the player tag and then detect what type they are. So if it's red, it just detects how much health he has and instantiates, well, exactly how much health you have. But here, if it detects if it's a blue slime, just creates one blue health UI for every blue slime that there are, because there can be multiple ones at once. So I just used all this. I had to use a list for game objects, so that way I could just create a set amount of orbs and just be able to delete them when necessary without having to be constantly creating a new one and constantly deleting them. So yeah, for the canvas, there are two canvases. There's the game over one and the win condition one. So this one, if you win the game, it actually just states exactly how many slimes you rescued and how many knights you defeated. And the other one is just the game over one. These get disabled and enabled depending on if you won or not, obviously. So yeah, and the final thing is just this goalpost over here. This, well, once it touches the main player, just detects how many points you got in total, which is decided by this script, which is in the slime at all times, so that way it can detect at all times all the conditions and stuff. And this script over here, it just takes all the necessary variables and then just writes the text. So it says slimes rescued, how many you rescued out of how many there were in the world map, and same thing for the knights. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've done for this game. So you can sort of see the entire level here with the background in the back, of course. Yeah, I'd say it went actually pretty well, but one thing that I would like to change is that maybe in the future, if I do continue work, maybe make the hordes of slimes just control better and work more like a swarm instead of just following the exact same movement. And it was actually kind of tricky to program the knight AI. So yeah,